get hit and keep moving forward.
All right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Welcome, Bloodline family. I'm your host, Courtney, the Wonder Woman, and this is the driver's seat. Tonight, we are going to talk about the top 5 drivers of the 1960s. And yes, don't forget you can catch me Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. right here on the Bloodline Entertainment Network. Okay, now let's get into our topic of the top 5 drivers of the 1960s. And number 5 would be Bobby Isaac. Bobby began his racing full-time in 1956. However, he did not do his NASCAR debut until 1961, 2 years before he ran another race. Bobby's first win was in 1964, where he ran a limited schedule. Now, these days, we would call that a part-timer. In 1968, he ran full season of 49 races with 3 wins, 3 poles, finished second in points to David the Silver Fox Pearson. And unfortunately, in 1977 of August, he passed away at Hickory Motor Speedway in Hickory, North Carolina at the ripe old age of 45 years old of a heart attack. Now, I was not alive back in the 1960s, but when my uncle talked to me about racing, these are the 5 names I'm giving y'all. We have some historic figures in here, and you'll see as we go along. Number 4, Fred Lorenzen, who never ran a full Cup Series season in 12 years. He ran the white number 28 Holman Moody Ford. He won the most popular driver 2 times in the 1960s. Also, I like to mention that y'all remember the movie Days of Thunder? Did you know that was named after Harry Hyde and Tim Richmond? Number 3 would be none other than one of my favorite commentary people ever, Benny B.P. Parsons. There's a lot to say about Benny. Benny was originally from Detroit, Michigan, and to pursue his dream of racing, he moved to the South down to North Carolina. He joined NASCAR in 1970, drove for L.G. DeWitt. He won the championship in 1973, and he actually helped launch the career of Greg Biffle because he actually saw a star in Greg Biffle. So really cool facts about BP. Wish she was still here. He ended up in the booth, and he ended up in the booth with his brother Phil, who I like to shout out. Miss you a lot, Benny. Your wisdom and your NASCAR knowledge is missed. Number 2. Oh, and don't forget, we have merch. And a little birdie told me that we will be having. Oh, the statistics are horrible. Get your ass off that hot ass sand. Merch is coming soon. So don't forget to check out our merch store. That's the bloodlineent.com/store. Get your merch today and get your beach towel or shirts. Now, number 2 is Jim Pascal. Jim Pascal was actually from High Point, North Carolina. And a fun fact, the Cup Series, before it became the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, which it used to be for a long time, they were involved for over 20 years. It used to be known as the Strictly Stock Car Series at the time. And 22 years later, it became the Winston Cup Series, the Nextel Cup Series, the Sprint Cup Series, and now we're just back to NASCAR Cup. Pretty cool if you ask me. Jim won a total of 25 races. Retired in 1972. Unfortunately, we lost him on July 5th, 2004 of cancer. Now, number 1 is a historical figure. His name is none other than Wendell Scott. Now, Wendell was born and raised in Danville, Virginia, which is not too far from me. Here are some fun facts about Wendell. He was in the International Motorsports Hall of Fame in 1999. He became a NASCAR Hall of Famer in 2015. Here are some of the drivers that I have heard personally in the interviews that they done that had talked about Wendell Scott. He influenced Bill Luster, who ran for the Truck Series. He influenced Bubba Wallace, who is currently the driver of the 23 Michael Jordan Motorsports X23 Racing. Roger Carruth, who drives for Hendrick Motorsports, and has won in the Truck Series recently. He also inspired the movement of there's a program called Drive for Diversity in NASCAR, where they believe, which is headed by Wendell Scott's daughter, Sybil, which is really cool. The Drive for Diversity is take like Daniel Suarez, like Bubba Wallace, a pit crew member like Brianna Daniels, and Tony B, who's a truck and modified driver. So this program is very special to NASCAR because it gives men and women of different ethnicities a chance to be a NASCAR driver, because that's most people's dreams, to be a driver. And a lot of people will say Wendell Scott influenced them in their in their drive, their passion of NASCAR. And I think that's really cool. Wendell Scott family a couple years ago in 2009, I believe, was here in the race at Martinsville, and we honored Wendell Scott and his legacy then. Um, Wendell Scott's family actually gave Bubba Wallace his first start in the truck series, so really cool to see him still making his mark on NASCAR even though he's not here with us. I do have some honorable mentions. Um my honorable mentions are Tim Richmond, Harry Hyde, Dick Trickle, and Junior Johnson. Now, I know some of these men have passed on, and some of them are still in the sport doing things within, like, maybe the Hall of Fame. I know, unfortunately, some of them we lost, and it's sad to lose a former driver. And some of these drivers went on to form like truck teams, cup teams, Xfinity teams, ARCA teams, modified teams. So the drivers are really passionate about our sport, which I love to see. And don't forget, we are on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And also, I'd like to bring up Tim Richmond again because I want to give you a little stats on Tim Richmond. Tim, he was actually born in 1955. He passed away in 1989. He came to us from Ashland, Ohio, and competed in, before he competed in the Cup Series, he was an IndyCar driver. So that was cool to me, and that really stuck out. And I think it's cool that they named Days of Thunder after him and Harry Hyde. Which Harry Hyde hailed to us from Kentucky. Harry Hyde was from Brownsville, Kentucky. He was born in 1925. He passed away in 1996, and before he died, for the years active were 1966 to 1993, he was a crew chief. Now, what a crew chief's job is to make sure your driver gets out there and goes for the green, white, and checker flag. And the main thing is to have fun racing and go for the checker flags. Now for Dick Trickle. Now Dick Trickle, his real name was Richard, and he adapted the nickname Dick. Now Dick was born in 1941. Unfortunately, we lost him in May of 2013. He was an American stock car driver. He was from Wisconsin, which I thought was cool. We've also had another driver, Matt Kenseth hailed from Wisconsin, so there goes that. And just a few of the name, like the few series he was a part of. He was part of the ASA, the ARCA series, which is still here today, the All Pro, the IMCA, NASCAR, and USAC racing. And we have Junior Johnson. Now, Junior Johnson, he was a junior, so he adopted the nickname Junior. His real name was Robert Glenn Johnson Jr. He was born in 1931. We lost him December 20th, 2019. He was, not only was he known for his stock car racing, he was also an engineer and a team owner as well. He won 50 NASCAR races in his career before retiring in 1966. Some people who he had that drove for him, as an example, he had Cale Yarborough and Darrell Waltrip. So he got them boys started in NASCAR. And he was from North Carolina as well. As you can see, there's a lot of history in NASCAR. A lot of people don't necessarily grow up in North Carolina where everybody thinks, because that's the mecca of NASCAR. We have drivers from Las Vegas, Wisconsin, just to name a few places. Junior Johnson actually won series owner championships with Cale Yarborough in 1976, 1977, and 1978. 3 back-to-back championships with Cale. And in 1981, 1982, and 1985, he won with none other than Darrell D.W. Waltrip. And I think his first win, the track he won at was Hickory Motor Speedway. I did not know that. And his last win was at North Wilkesboro Speedway, which was recently opened back up around 2-3 years ago. So welcome back, North Wilkesboro. A lot of people love that stadium. I'm happy it's back open. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share out the stream. And for that, Mr. Bot Ritz, hit my music. Thank you for joining us today for the top 5 1960s drivers. I hope you enjoyed this little track back down the history. Don't forget, you can follow me on all my socials at Miss Courtney 28. It's Twitter and Instagram is at Courtney Holland 35. And remember, you can always find me on the Bloodline ENT. So, pleasure. Thank you for joining me. See y'all next time.
This is a big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last. You know what I'm talking about?